Hello, this is Lucretia with the Calm and Confident You podcast. I hope that your new year is off to a good start. Today, I want to tell you how revved up I got while planning my goals for the year. It all started with the Winter Solstice when I reviewed all that had taken place over the past year. Then I started thinking of what I'd hoped for or what I do hope for the coming year. This led to me deciding to create a document in Canva in order to map out my goals. I found a template and I altered it to fit my needs, and then I started using it. I also shared that to my email list, so anybody who's on my email list had free access to use the same goals form that I'm using for myself. I had ideas, but I hadn't realized exactly what they would entail. I started plugging my plans into the quarterly and monthly goal spaces on my form. One thing I am wanting to do this year is to upgrade my original signature course, and that's the Get on Top of Your Emotions system. I want to redo the videos. I have better equipment now, so I can create better quality videos. And then I can use the snippets from those videos in my social media. I decided that I would do 2 modules per month, which would result in me having all the videos updated by the end of June. Next, I shifted to looking at the quarters of a year instead of the whole year. The first page of my goals template has the months in the quarter January, February, and March. I penciled in all of my goals for the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. Then I started penciling in my goals for January, February, and March. Then I narrowed in on the month of January. My office mate, the person that I share my in-person office with, had told me that she was going to run an open house on the second Saturday in January. At the time, I had thought, well, maybe I can present one of my webinars in person a couple of weeks after that, and during the open house, I could start handing out my flyers to advertise it and announce it. That was kind of a vague plan. It turned into a specific plan as I filled in January. Then I realized there's going to be more to it than I thought. For several years, I've had another document that I created for myself, which is my goals for 1 month, 1 week at a time, with the steps that I need to complete for each week. So I started working on that for January, and it quickly filled up. My anxiety started to rise a little bit because there was quite a bit more to do than I realized. I saw after I did this planning, I was going to have to get focused and put the time in order to be ready for that open house. It's a good thing that I started doing my goal planning. So that's the thing that got me into gear and got me really doing the work. And for me, it's really not work. It's kind of fun. I designed a registration page for the talk I'm going to do, and then I designed some flyers to hand out. The flyers turned out really pretty, and I was able to make a QR code that people could scan to go to the registration page. That's new technology for me, and I think that's pretty cool to be able to do that. So that open house took place yesterday. I didn't know whether to expect just a handful of people or how busy it might become. I kind of suspected I might come home after an hour if it was slow. But it turned out to be a good crowd. I had made 25 flyers to hand out, and I ended up handing out all of them. In doing so, I needed to introduce myself to the people who were mainly friends and customers of my office mate. I had to stretch a little bit to approach people, quickly tell them who I was, and offer them the flyer, not knowing if they were okay with that or if I was being pushy or annoying them. Most of the people, I think all of them, were friendly and smiled and thanked me for it. I think it seemed to help that my talk was going to be in the same building, in the conference room just off from where we were standing. So these are people that already come to that building. They're already familiar with it. They're already there on a Saturday. My hope is that they would be available to come again in 2 weeks on a Saturday. That open house is over, and I had a lot of fun. I talked to a lot of people. Some people I know showed up, so some of my conversations were deeper and with people who are also inspired with their own goals. So overall, it was a really good time. I now have 2 weeks to get ready to do my presentation. I was at the open house for 3 hours. That evening when I returned home, I created an event on Facebook to announce the presentation. That required some creativity. I then boosted that event to let people in my local area know about it. So I'm advertising on Facebook to locals. The presentation is my webinar that I've given a few times over the past year. It's the Mind Over Stress presentation. So when I handed the flyers to people, I got the same reaction I often get when I'm doing something related to stress management. There's always someone who says, "Oh my gosh, I need this." And somebody else will say, "Yeah, we all need this." So I hope that those enthusiastic reactions will turn into people actually taking action and coming to hear my presentation. I'm hoping also that since they saw me in person, and even though it was just a brief, quick hello, that will help people want to show up. So yesterday evening, after a few hours at the open house, I created that event and started advertising it. Over the next 2 weeks, I need to get handouts ready and pull together the things which will make the presentation fun and interactive. I have the hang of it now. It is really amazing how much goes into just putting on a little presentation. But I do want people in my local community to get to know that I'm here and where I'm located. And not only am I a counselor, but I also have offerings online. I always like talking to people, and it's fun when people come in person. It ends up being personal and friendly with give and take. So I'm looking forward to my own event. Now remember, I made the goal to update the videos for 2 modules per month. As soon as I have everything in place for the presentation, I can move on to working on the first 2 modules of my big signature course. I have some pretty good motivation for getting it updated and looking the way I want. As I was doing all of this planning and goals, I discovered that there's a big conference coming up in June. It is for people in a completely different field from me. I'm hoping at this conference there would be people who would find my courses helpful. So there's my motivation. I want to have my big course and my medium stress course all ready to go. I want to have all of these in good working order and ready for me to log in and show some of the behind the scenes. I want to be able to have conversations about how I might personalize it to fit the needs of these people and their clients. I want to be ready to do some collaboration if that opportunity comes up. I'm telling you all of this because I don't know if you can picture it, but as I was thinking about all of this and planning and preparing and thinking of possibilities, I really got very excited. My mind was going and going, and I had lots of energy. I was really into the whole idea, and this went on for several days. I was just spinning and revving, and I didn't want to think about other things. I even had a couple of nights that I didn't sleep very much because I was thinking and planning into the late hours. Then I woke up in the morning thinking about it. Now, of course, I don't want to be in my head like that and thinking like that all the time. That's one of the things I teach about, is not staying stuck in your head thinking, thinking, thinking. But for this, it was really a good thing. It showed me how excited I was and how important all of this was to me. And it was time well spent. I put all of my thinking to good use. I am organized, I have a plan of attack, and now I'm in a more steady approach mode. I don't have to be as intense as I work on these things because I know what I want to do, what it takes, and what's coming each week. I know what steps I need to take. I hope that after hearing this, you start to think about your own goals. Making your plan isn't something that's miserable or uncomfortable. It's a fun thing. It's exciting to decide how to use your own time in the way that you want for your own goals. So this week going forward, it is still January. It is still the right time to make your plan. If you're on my email list, you can look for that email I sent out giving you my goals planner. And the sender is probably growing or grow emots. So you could go back and look for that and use that planner. You can use your own. But this week, do take some time to jot down a few of your goals. You can pick one or two and make a plan for a quarter at a time. If you're interested in some products and educational things that I put out and you'd like to be on my email list, you can go out to my website, growingemotionalstrength.com. There you'll find a couple of my free offerings. You can pick one of those, sign up for it, and not only will you get that free offer, you will also get to be on my email list, where you'll get tips, announcements, and you'll hear about my latest podcast episode or my latest video. And of course, once you're on the email list, it's easy for you to contact me as well. And I would love to hear from you. Until next time, be well.